How's it going, everyone? It's New Year's Eve 2024, and I thought that this would be a good time to do a top 10 finds of 2024 video. So I'm going to do just that. I'm going to show you my top 10 records that I found in the year 2024, and then I'll do some honorable mentions at the end of the video. Some records that could be up in the top 10, but I kind of went by the median price on Discogs when making this list. So that was kind of the matrix of what I used to put in this video. So here we go. Now, my number one vinyl find this year, I don't have anymore. I actually did a sell and trade sort of deal with it back in the summertime, and I'll kind of touch more on that a little bit later. But number 10 is actually a twofer. I've got Nude Swirl, self-titled. Actually, it's their second self-titled release. This is their major label release from 1993. Been after this record for a long time. It's kind of an unknown 90s, grunge-y, kind of that like B-tier grunge in terms of popularity. This one gets overlooked a lot. It's kind of got some psychedelic elements to it. There's a lot of wah-wah on the guitar, a lot of kind of swirling guitar noise in the background. This copy is cool because, as you can see, it is autographed by all of the members of the band. I hope this video doesn't get flagged because of the painting. I just realized that. So I bought this off of Discogs, and I was trying to communicate with the seller, and there was a period of time where I didn't get any messages. So I actually ended up finding another copy on Discogs for a little bit cheaper, but it's not autographed, but it's identical in every other way. I kind of having a dilemma with these two copies here because even though this one is autographed, the jacket on this one is in slightly better shape. The vinyl on this one, there's a skip on one of the tracks. Otherwise, it plays really nicely. So, I don't know. Probably end up selling this one, keeping the autographed one. But we'll see. So that's my number 10. Kind of a two-parter there because, it's the same album. Number 9, record that I found at one of my all-time favorite record spots, about an hour away from here. I passed on this initially, and then, I'm kind of getting more familiar with the owner of the shop. He cut me a really good deal on this. This is Caravan, self-titled from 1969, I believe. This is special because it is a white label promo. You can see there, it's got the DJ Not For Sale on the front. The jacket on this record is not in the greatest shape, but the vinyl is like borderline near mint. I don't know how much you can see in the camera there, but this vinyl is darn near perfect. So that's one of the reasons that I bought it. And then just, being a record that you don't see very often. This is kind of like, it's psychedelic, but on the proggier side of the psychedelic music. It's pretty cool. It's a little Deep Purple-ish in parts, but not as heavy. Very moody vocals, a lot of organ and keyboard on this. It's a cool listen. Number 8 is actually an upgrade. If you watch my videos, you'll know that I got a copy of this about a year and a half ago that was missing the cover. The Digipack had kind of disintegrated, and it only had the back part that holds the vinyl. But I found this for a really, really good price on Discogs. Complete copy, the Digipack's all intact, and I couldn't really say no with the price that the seller had it listed at. So my brother actually has my other copy. He wanted it. Like I said in the other video that I talked about this in, this is just a phenomenal record. You know, you got pretty much all the musicians on here from Funkadelic. It sounds like Funkadelic with a female vocalist. And what a female vocalist at that. You know, Ruth Copeland has some amazing, amazing pipes, as you can hear on this record. Definitely recommend. All right, number 7. Another one that I made a video on already is Hard Stuff, Bulletproof. Original UK pressing on Purple Records. Like I said in that other video, you know, these two dudes right here were in Atomic Rooster, and they left Atomic Rooster and formed Hard Stuff. Well, they formed Bullet, which turned into Hard Stuff. And this is pretty Atomic Roostery, but, you know, there's no organ on it. It's got more of that power trio feel. I'm not going to talk too much more about this because I already made a video on it, but really, really cool find that I actually had back in February. Okay, this is the only reissue that's on my list. And that would be the Noble Records exclusive pressing of Fraction Moonblood. Very anticipated reissue this year. And this sold out pretty quickly. I'm very happy I was able to get my hands on a copy. And much to my surprise, these are pretty expensive on Discogs, you know, especially for a reissue. But the original Fraction is, you know, a true grail piece, almost impossible to find. I know there's people on Instagram that I follow that have gotten original copies of Fraction Moonblood this year, and a little jealous, but this is a really, really good sounding reissue. It's on that red wax. It's got the faithful reproduction of the cover here, which is really neat. So yeah, that is my number 6, I believe. All right, number 5. Number 5 is Bubble Puppy, Gathering of Promises. Another one that I got back in February. I actually got at the same time as I got the Hard Stuff. Traded a bunch of records, and I ended up getting those two. Super clean pressing. Really, really cool psych album because there's no organ on it. It's 2 guitars, which is kind of atypical of the psychedelic sound of the late 60s. But I like it. You know, Hot Smoke and Sassafras is a true psych classic. Always fun to listen to that song. And yeah, again, not going to talk too much about it because I already talked about it in a previous video. Number 5. All right, number 4. Long time want on this one. That would be Spread Eagle, self-titled from 1990. This is a gold stamp promo. It's got the hype sticker on the front. This is another Discogs buy that I found at a really good price and couldn't really say no because I've been after this record for so long. And yeah, really clean, sounds great. This, if you don't know what Spread Eagle is, and if you can't really tell by the cover, it's part of that late era hair and glam music, kind of the late 80s into the early 90s, where the bands were getting a little bit heavier, you know, trying a different sound. But this is, Spread Eagle was one of the New York-based glam bands, which I always thought had a little bit of a tougher sound than the bands that were on the West Coast. You know, bands like this, Circus of Power is another one that has kind of that tougher, grittier sound. You know, I guess Kicks to some degree, they're a little bit bluesier. Cinderella to some degree, again, a little bit bluesier. I think Danger Danger was from the East Coast, so they would be an exception to that rule. But anyway, gold stamp promo, Spread Eagle. Cool find. Number 4 on my list. Number 3 would be, it's another promo copy, Granicus, self-titled, from 73, sorry about that, 73. It's very hard to see. I'm not even sure if the camera will pick it up, but there's an embossed stamp right here on the jacket. And it says, not for sale, promotion use only. Again, I'm really not sure the camera's picking that up. Cover's not in the greatest shape on this one. You know, classic case of when you find one of these records, a lot of times cover's not super mint. The vinyl sounds really good. And Granicus, great band. They they almost have sort of a Zeppelin-y sound to them, and the vocalist reminds me a lot of Geddy Lee from Rush, which is interesting because, this was a full year before Rush's debut. So kind of interesting. The singer is just doing like vocal gymnastics over the entire record, just wailing and screaming away. You got that twin guitar attack on there, which sounds really, really cool. Yeah, great record. Definitely recommend some Granicus. This, by the way, was a record show find. I don't think my number 2 was a record show find. Otherwise, I don't think any of the other top finds of this year were record show finds. I found a lot of cool stuff at record shows, don't get me wrong, but none of them managed to get into the top 10 here price point wise. Yeah, I'm looking through right now, and none of the rest of these came from record shows. Number 2 would be Joseph, Stoned Age Man from 1969. This is a cool psych record. Joseph, the singer of the band leader, he's got a pretty gruff voice, but the music's not super duper heavy. It's definitely more in that psychedelic realm with some guitars on it, of course. But yeah, this is another one that I found for a really good deal. Cover is not in the greatest shape, but the vinyl is probably a VG plus. Plays really nicely. And really, at the end of the day, at this point where I'm at with collecting, I don't care a ton if the jacket is super minty. I care more about the vinyl. So if the vinyl's in really poor shape, I'm probably not going to buy it unless it's a really rare record for a really, really good price. But if the jacket's a little rough and the vinyl is awesome, then, there's a better chance that I'm going to pick it up. And my number 1 record, I don't have anymore. It's another one that I made a video on. It's called Slaughter Extroius Winterkill. Private Press metal from Chicago. More in that power metal sort of wheelhouse. I mentioned it in the video that I made about that album. I'll try and put a picture of it in right here so that you can see what album I'm talking about. I found my best vinyl find ever. I found it at a flea market in my hometown for $40. And I was like shaking when I pulled it out of the box that the guy had set up. And he was like, yeah, I know it's metal, but you know anything about that record? I don't really know much about it. So it's one of those situations where it's like, yeah, it's metal, it's local Chicago band. You're trying not to say too much about it because you just want to pay that price and get out of there before, they figure out that it's worth a lot more than $40, which it is. So I listened to it. It was in great shape. It was in the shrink. Part of me regrets selling it, but I got a lot more money than what I paid for it, and I got a few records on trade that I really, really wanted. A couple of which we're going to talk about right now in my honorable mentions. So I've got 6 honorable mentions. One of them actually should have been in my top 10 value-wise, but it's a bootleg. And it's not like an old concert bootleg. It's a new bootleg. So it felt kind of weird including a bootleg in my top 10s. But people are paying a lot of money for this bootleg because it's such an expensive record. And that would be Wild Side, Under the Influence. I'm not a big buyer of these bootlegs, but I will buy them if the record is like ridiculously expensive and hard to find. So I bought my 3 big hair and glam records I bought as bootlegs this year. This, Roxy Blues Want Some, and Shotgun Messiah's Second Coming. I'd love to have OGs of them, but they're just really expensive and really hard to find. So when they reissued these as bootlegs, I was like, I'm going to buy the bootlegs. It just is what it is. So this is a 2 LP set, red and blue vinyl. Sounds decent for, being a bootleg. A lot of times you can tell with bootlegs that people just kind of rip them from the CD. And I mean, you can tell by the cover. It looks splotchy because it's still in the shrink, but like you can very clearly tell that this was just scanned from, the CD pictures. In fact, it's got the compact disc logo right there. I don't know if it's showing up in the camera, but I thought that was funny. So this is, your classic late era hair and glam, like band that just came too late to the party. I mean, this was released in 92, and, did it really stand a chance if it was released in 1992? But if this record would have come out, 5-6 years earlier, maybe even 3 or 4 years earlier, I think it would have been massive because it's really, really good. Definitely, kind of on that heavier end of the hair and glam spectrum. So, like I said, value-wise, this should have been in the top 10, but it just feels weird including a bootleg in the top 10. So that's why it's an honorable mention. Okay, another honorable mention would be Tesla, Psychotic Supper. This is a Europress, 1991 original. Really cool record, hard record to find from Tesla. Their first two records aren't super easy to find either, but this one is a tough record to find. So a lot of this one and a lot of these honorable mentions I got from a metal vinyl group that I'm on Facebook. He's the dude that runs it has been responsible for a lot of my higher end metal finds, especially the hair and glam ones. And this one is no exception. It came from him. Super stoked. I did not think that I was going to win this record during the sale that I got it during, but I'm really happy to have it. It's a very clean copy. All right, another one that I got from him. These next three records are all going to be from the same person. Giant's second record, Time to Burn. Giant, I made a video where I talked about their first album last year because I got it in 2023. This is their second album. Very tough to find. Was never released on vinyl in the States. I think this one's from 92 as well. So again, late era hair and glam. This is more on the AOR side of things. A little bit more melodic, a little bit cleaner sounding, more well produced. I have to say I don't like it as much as their first album. And it's such such a me thing to be upset about. It doesn't have the original inner. So if I were to ever find one with the original inner for a decent price, I would definitely get that one and sell this, which might sound silly because the vinyl is really clean on this, but I'm such a sucker for having the original stuff. That's my only complaint about this record. Otherwise, very cool find. So these next two are two of the records that I got as part of that sale trade deal for the Slaughter Extroius record. Two records that I've been after for a very, very long time. Both super duper clean, both gold stamp promos. The first one is Veins, No Respect. Classic late era hair and glam record. Top tier. I love this record to death. Very, very cool record. Definitely more of that kind of grittier hair and glam of the late 80s. Very, very highly recommend this album. It's super good. Should have been bigger than it was. And the vinyl is ridiculously clean on this. So, definitely stoked to add that one. And then the other one, I gotta take this little booklet out here. Every Mother's Nightmare, self-titled, from 1990. Yes, 1990. Another gold stamp promo, very clean, and it comes with a press kit. So that was really cool too, to be able to include that. This is, again, late era hair and glam. This one, these guys were from, I think, Tennessee, so it's almost got more of a southern rock sound to it, but not like, it's like a heavy southern rock sound to it. There's some tracks on here that are really, really heavy. And look at that cover. I mean, how cool is that? So yeah, that one in Vain, two records that I've been after for a really, really long time. And I was more than happy to add them to the collection over the Slaughter Extroius because the glam stuff is just more my wheelhouse, more what I'm into. And the last honorable mention, I just got this record yesterday. Original pressing of the Melvins' first album, Gluey Porch Treatments. On this album, they hadn't quite slowed down as much yet. A lot of these songs are more up-tempo and punk influenced. I mean, you can see how many tracks are on there. Look at Baby Dale and Buzz, and Matt Lukin, who would be in Mudhoney shortly after this. Yeah, this was a really, really great find. Traded a bunch of records that I was gonna get rid of for this one, and it had been up on the wall at one of my local record stores for a long time. And after Christmas, I had some gift cards to the place too, and all those records up for trade. So I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get the Melvins because it's an original '87 pressing on Alchemy. So pretty cool find. But that's it. I had a bunch of other cool finds in 2024. A bunch of other cool metal finds. Cramps' Songs of the Lord Taught Us was a big find for me this year. And, I'm sure a ton of others that I'm forgetting. But those, value-wise, were kind of the top of the top for me. So hope you enjoyed this video. Everybody have a good new year, and we'll see what 2025 brings to the collection.